Okay, it's the 8th of July, Thursday, about 12 minutes to the RTH session. And here we are in the big picture. So this is what we had yesterday. Last night's close was almost at the high at 43.50ish, and currently we're at 42.88, and drop of 60 points, 60 points. $65 points. This has put us inside last week's point of control right there. It's 88. So my scenario 1 is for a test higher and a continuation lower to prior week's low, which is at 64. Down here, prior week low at 64. Scenario 1, scenario 2 is the opposite. We extend, we test lower, find buyers, and test the overnight mid at 15. Scenario 2. And yesterday, we talked about yesterday on the 15-minute. Yesterday, we opened, tested high, just outside of Friday's range, and sold off. So that was my scenario 2. So yesterday it was my scenario 2, played very well. And then we had a V bottom and we finished higher on the day. So we had a V bottom here, a V bottom here, and now we have an almighty half V. Okay, so scenario 1 again in blue. We open, test higher to the century figure in the singles, 305, and sell off to prior week low. And in the mean time, we take out the overnight low at 79 quarter. And it's likely that we finish above the 3-voter sigma down. So that's scenario 1. Scenario 2. Is we open, take out the overnight low. We're currently around 90. So a test of around 10 points to the overnight low, or slightly lower. Below the overnight low at 80, we only have the 3-voter sigma. So that's at the lowest that I expected to test before it turns. And takes out the century, the singles, heads for the overnight mid at 15. There it is, which is just 5 points below yesterday's low. So we may attempt to close the gap, but the likelihood of closing the gap is very low. We're opening in a gap which is 30 points deep. So scenario 1 again. Test the century figure and find sellers, continue the downshift down to prior week's low, taking out the overnight low in the meantime, and the prior week's VPOC at 88. Scenario 2, test lower, overnight low, take it out, turn around and start working closing the gap. There'll be good resistance at the singles at 304 to be expected. Resistance there. And the continuation of that to the overnight mid at 15. So that's that. Scenario 3, of course, is another V bottom, brief test lower, and a spike up and close the open test drive. Open rejection reverse and close the gap. Scenario 3. Scenario 4 in orange, if we go for another leg lower beyond the prior week's low, where we expect a lot of resistance as it's the one-time framing on the weekly, and below that we have a HVN at 56. Scenario 4, and that's that.